Hey, welcome to the program. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194. That's the Healthy Home Hotline. The 4 pillars of a healthy home. Of course, we've got the pillar of the structure, the house itself, the ecosystem, what's going on inside that house. Are you poisoning your family? Are you using nice, clean supplies? How's your physical well-being? You getting out and getting some fresh air, walking around, eating good food? And how's your emotional and spiritual well-being? If all 4 of those pillars aren't in place, the roof comes tumbling down.
Speaking of emotional, we do have an emotional release class next Thursday. Yep.
What's that mean?
Well, we have a little scanner that will scan your body.
Okay.
And it will give us an indication of what essential oils you need. And there's an emotion tied to that oil. So then we have a book that we go to, and we look up that oil, and most every time that emotion resonates with that person. And so then there's affirmations and essential oils that you use to get past that. So for example, I was telling somebody this the other day. Grandma's gone, so she won't hear this.
Okay.
Okay, just making sure who's listening. My grandma, loved her, bless her heart. She was a very large woman, and I was at the age where when she came to visit, I was the one that had to stay home and play with her, entertain her, because my other siblings could leave the house because they were older.
Right.
And we lived very, very blue collar. Like, you had one pair of shoes, one coat, all the things. And so this new bedroom that I had gotten was a long time coming, and it was just, picture of my dreams, right? Was having my own bedroom and having it look like this in the bed and so forth. Well, she always had to stay in my bed. And so then, I had to go somewhere else in the house, which is fine. But she broke my bed because she was so large. And she wore very, very, very cheap vanilla perfume.
Okay.
So we have an essential oil that has vanilla in it. And everybody on earth loves this oil, but
except for you.
except for me. And everybody was like, why? Like, everybody loves that oil, and so it was like working through, the why of that.
Was that traumatized for you or something? Must have been.
It was. I mean, it was my dream to have this bedroom, and then for her to break the bed, and then so smells bring you back to all sorts, right? All sorts of memories, right? So when I would smell that or vanilla, it would take me back to that nasty perfume, which then took me back to that emotion of she just trashed it. And it probably wouldn't have been so emotional if we would have had some money and knowing that it was going to be okay and it was going to be fixed and all the things, but knowing you got one pair of shoes and you got one coat and like you didn't let anything break.
You had your Sunday go to meet in blue jeans.
right. So for example, once I realized that through this whole journey of, this whole health and wellness journey that I've done over the last, 11 years, I realized that, wow, that's still in there, right? So worked through that emotion and did the thing, and it doesn't bother me anymore. I can talk about it. It doesn't, it's just like a thing, right? And so, I mean, it could be grief. It could be,
it might be why I'm just thinking out loud here.
Lord.
It might be why you spend so much money all the time. 'Cause you didn't have any as a kid, so now you spend like a drunken sailor.
Could be. Yes, could be.
Right.
And so issues are in your tissues, right? So,
issues are in your tissues.
Right.
I gotta write that down.
Yeah, you better write that down. Issues are held in your tissues.
Okay.
So the emotional release we go through, and a lot of times it's an indication of what's on your mind at that moment, right? It could be something, that just recently happened. It could be from years ago. It's just really where were you at?
Cellular memory, Sheila.
Yes.
You can write that one. Cellular memory.
I think I know.
Okay.
I think I got that one down.
Right.
So anyway, that's next Thursday. So we do a scan.
Right.
We see what emotional comes up. Oil comes up for you. And
someone's listening now. They're all excited, I'm sure.
Yes.
Because they want to do this.
Right.
How do they do it?
They go to ourhealthyhomes.com, click on the events tab,
Okay.
and they just scroll through the events, and That should be the first one.
Okay. Any cost?
No cost.
Oh, really?
Yep. Serve you a mocktail. Always give a prize. It's just how it works. Because I'm a giving person,
Mm-hmm.
aren't I?
Yeah.
I hear about that sometimes too. And so I encourage you to just come and check it out, and bring a friend if you feel like that's going to make you feel safer. If you've never been to the mansion, just come and hang out. We're a good group of people, and there's a whole list of things that are coming up on there. There's Zooms and all sorts of other events that we have. We have a thieves workshop coming up, and your health products that you shouldn't be expensive, and so you always say in the thieves products they don't ship water,
no
right?
kidding.
So everything is so concentrated that if
Yep.
you use it straight, yes, you are going to,
And it works
it's
great,
going to be
too.
it's going to be more expensive that way.
New one's coming.
We've got a thieves workshop coming up, and I like to do that one because it's a hands-on. You get to calculate yourself based on how you dilute it, what that is. For example, if you dilute the foaming hand soap, you calculate it and it's like $5.49.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I ask you then, is $5.49 worth it for you to save your health, or to keep taxing it and toxing it with
what I like?
other things?
I like the Windex one because you
That
can make,
ratio.
because I have calculated that.
Yeah.
It's like 9 cents.
Yeah. Right.
For
Yes.
a thing of Windex.
Yeah, to
Or
break it
window
down.
cleaner.
To take the thieves and
it
break
works
it down.
great.
Yeah, and there's different there's different ways that you mix it. So let's see, I've got a few more minutes.
Okay, I want to hear about this because Monday night you had a bunch of women swimming in the pool, and there was something going on.
Were you watching?
I did not.
You didn't watch from the cameras in the office?
I did
Come
not.
on, fess
Nope.
up. You
I was
can.
absorbed with something else. I was
Okay.
working on a real estate transaction, so
Okay.
I couldn't. But
Okay.
I did hear some squealing and laughing and giggling and some music and splashing.
Yes.
So tell us about that once, quick.
Dr. Sonia and I have been doing a 90-day weight loss program for women,
Mm-hmm.
and what we need to get in the mindset of people is it isn't eat less and exercise more. That's not where it's at. There's so much stress, and with that, then your cortisol levels go up, and then you can't release the weight no matter what you're doing. I actually had to tell somebody to work out less one time because she was working out literally 5 days a week, like for 2 hours a day. And it's like, girlfriend, your cortisol levels are
Off the
so
yeah.
high, right? And so we're not in. So anyway, we've got these ladies, 90 days. We meet every Monday. We give weekly challenges, and a weekly challenge is the week before they made Epsom salt with the essential oils, and they took it home, and their weekly challenge was to take a bath. Like, how about you take 20 minutes, go relax, and you've got to get that nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to relax that nervous system. Mm-hmm. Nothing is going to shift for you until you do.
And you've got your PhD in self-care, so.
Hey, I'm working on it. I'm working real hard on it. And so now this next week, the challenge is, guess what? You have to make a soup. Or last week was also the challenge was to sit down with your family and eat one home cooked meal without the cell phones at the table.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and so I have the ladies put the cell phones in the basket before they come into the pool room.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, it is a struggle. One gal the next week said the hardest thing last week was having to put her phone in the basket. Yeah. So really, we need to take a break from this. We are in a world where we are having a metabolic system problem with weight loss, and our, let's face it, our guts are just torn up and definitely need some love. So what we're doing is teaching women modalities, things to do to help them reduce their stress. Every week we have a word, and so I make an inhaler with an essential oil to go with that word, and so they get the card, and these are your affirmations. Keep this with you, and just do it as many times as you need to. Keep it with you. we're wanting to wake you up to what your body is feeling and know what your body is doing and how to handle what it's doing. We're looking forward to doing it again.
Yes, I bet you are. Okay. We have, after we come back from break, we've got...
I didn't get to anything I wanted to today, but that's all right.
We've got Mariah McDowell. Mariah McDowell, in from Nashville, is going to do a number for us when we come back from break. This is Our Healthy Homes. OurHealthyHomes.com, 651-775-9194. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. This is Our Healthy Homes, OurHealthyHomes.com. The 4 pillars... kind of mumbled over
there. Yeah, you did. 4 pillars.
The 4 pillars of a healthy home. 651-775-9194. I'm talking fast because I'm all excited. Got a big country music star on the show today. What?
No, I just said that because her name sounds like a country music star.
Mariah McDowell. Okay, so you are a midwife.
Yep.
All right. Is that different than being a doula?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so the midwife essentially is like the OB, but we do home births. And so I'm the primary, caregiver for the woman at home.
Okay, so when does that process... So let's back up here, because I'll just jump in and we'll be bouncing all over. So I just want to go a little more linear here. What made you want to do that?
Well, I have 7 kids of my own.
Woo!
And so...
They are young.
Did you deliver them yourself?
Well, that's the kick. Is the first 3 were born at a birth center, which is like a little house that you can give birth at.
Okay.
And then my 4th was born at home with a midwife.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? I think we can do this on our own at this point. And so my 5th, I dug into like how to keep it safe, right? And then we ended up delivering my 5th, which was my 3rd boy, at home between just my husband and I. And then we went on to have 2 more as just him and I. But that kind of like really dug into like...
Did he get into it, your husband?
Oh, he loves it, yeah.
Really?
He wanted me to do home births from the beginning, and I was like, you're nuts.
Really?
And so just the philosophy of like having a baby and like what it means to be a woman and have that intuition of your own body and like learning that and like being able to... Really, the Lord come alongside me in that pregnancy is why I did the free birth the way that I did. And then after he was born, the Lord was like, this is what I've called you to do.
Okay, now explain to me the difference, if you can, in the feelings as a woman, because men don't have any. So, as a woman, the difference between a midwife process, the whole process going through versus... the traditional, I'm going to my OBGYN gal and having it in the hospital.
I would argue the biggest difference is the relationship. Like you as a midwife, our meetings or our prenatals are well over an hour long. And so we're really digging into like having a personal trust with our clients and having that home birth establishment. Otherwise, outside of that, I mean, it's the same. We go through the same like... making sure the blood's, like, hemoglobin's good. Checking off all the box of blood works and making sure baby's growing well. But it's more for, like, the low-risk pregnancies. And there is some variations in that of, like, I don't know, pushing the border on what's safe and what's not safe. Because then you have the arguments of some claim it's unsafe to have a baby at home after 35 because you're considered old, geriatric.
Right.
Where we would still take clients till 43, 44 at home. So there's the variations of that. But like an OB, you would go in. It's typically 15 to 20 minutes. And then you may or may not get that OB at your birth, depending on who's on call in the hospital. Where like they're hiring me for me. And I'm their sole provider, and I'll show up at their house when the time of delivery. And, like, if I happen to have another mom go into labor, I do have backup midwives that can come in replacement of me, but that's never happened yet.
Well, if you get a flat tire in the way.
Well, you pray that you don't. You keep your you keep your tires inflated. But again, like we have friends, and it's a pretty good community to be able to back each other if something were to crazy come up.
Okay, just from so when you talk about trust, I get the personal trust thing because we do the same thing every day. I mean, you work with people you know, like, and trust, right? So you have to establish that relationship. That's how we operate our business. If I mess something up in a real estate transaction, I can usually fix it, and and people get a little bit upset with me, but it will go fine. In a birth situation, it's a little different. If that. So what level of like competency or training or whatever it is, do you have to go through so that you are first of all confident in your own ability?
Yep. And that's state by state. So like each state has their own laws for home birth midwives.
Which is the loosest?
Minnesota, actually.
Really?
You can practice as a home birth midwife without having licensure. Now, there's this association called NARM. It's the North American Registry of Midwifery.
Okay.
And so in that, they certify people for being a midwife. And in that certification, you either have to go to a college, which would be like a MEEC accredited college, and it's like a 2-year process. And then do a certain amount of births and a certain amount of prenatals through that kind of. And then they test you on your knowledge of what you know. I did what NARM has is called a PEP process. And so you have these 4 phases, and each phase you have to attend a certain amount of births, certain amount of prenatals, all that stuff. And then you have your preceptor, which would be the senior midwife, sign off on all that you've done, including skills and whatever else. And everybody sits the big NARM test. And once you're done with that and you get your certification, you can get licensed in the state of Minnesota. And really, the difference between, like, they call it a traditional midwife if you're not licensed, and then a certified practicing midwife or a licensed midwife if you're licensed or certified through NARM. And really the benefit of being licensed is that you can do blood work and you can order meds.
Okay.
Where like the traditional midwife wouldn't be able to do that without the licensure number.
Okay. So when you are, walk through the, so now I just, Sheila just found out.
It's way more than I ever thought that it was that you'd have on your plate to do.
Yeah.
I thought, you show up for the birth and
Away you go. Okay, so Sheila just told me last night she's pregnant.
Oh, that'd be a miracle.
Many ways. After I moved past the wanting to commit suicide part, and now she reaches out to you and says, "Okay, I found out I'm pregnant. Kind of walk me through what that's going to look like over the course of the next 8.5 months."
Yeah, so we would do the initial interview, and if you and I get along
in person or Zoom,
it's typically a 15 to 30 to 45 minutes interview over the phone, depending on what that person needs. And then if you want to meet in person, then we can also do an in-person interview. And then once they hire me, then it's you have a prenatal visit once every month until you're 28 weeks.
In person.
In person, yeah, or at their home or in the office.
So you have an office.
I share a home office with another midwife out in Hem Lake.
Okay.
Yeah. And then because depending on location too, like if they're near me, I'll just go to their house.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then once you're 28 weeks, which would be the beginning of the 3rd trimester, we meet every other week until you're 36 weeks, and then it's every week until you give birth.
And what are you doing during those weeks?
During the prenatals, we just go over like if there's any abnormal pains, if there's, swelling, just kind of making sure that overall everything's going smoothly.
And Lord knows you've got the experience.
And then there's like an initial OB panel if that's what they decide to do. Some people just opt out. It's not required in my practice. That? Like just blood work to make sure like platelets are good, hemoglobin's good.
Okay, now insurance doesn't pay for this, I'm going to guess.
Well, actually in the state of Minnesota, state insurance now does cover licensed midwives.
And you're licensed?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, that's a shocker. I would have never thought that.
I practice as a traditional midwife in the state currently, but I have the option to be licensed, I should clarify, yeah. And so they couldn't get insurance through, no, they could. They could get it through me still, but it would be like sectioned out. Like they would only cover a section of it versus the entire thing, yeah.
Okay, so how many people can you work with at once?
I choose to only take 2 a month.
A month?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go based on due date then.
Right. Well, it's not required for me. Like, my husband covers all the bills. And so really this is something that we believe that the Lord has called me to. And so it's really something that in my community, that's something I would like to serve in that way. And so for me having 7 kids at home, we all homeschool all our kids as well.
Wow.
If I'm working, he's at home.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's working, I'm at home.
Okay.
And so there's no need to go further on than that unless
But there's no rule against it.
No.
At what point do you think you would, it's like, I can't do any more than, give me a number.
Then you unfortunately see burnout midwives where they're just like, it's just too much.
Okay. What's that number, do you think?
I mean, I've seen midwives go up to 6 a month.
Okay.
Which is crazy. Their weeks are insane.
Well, not only that, a month.
Yeah.
So that's times 12.
Right.
Or times 9.
Right.
Whatever, before you get your turnover.
Yep.
That's a lot of...
Well, yeah, and you figure when you're on call for them for 4 weeks prior to their due date.
Yeah.
And then you're on call for them up to 3 weeks after their due
So you're
date.
like always on call.
Right. So that's like, 7 weeks that you're on call for that one mom.
Right.
And then they overlap each other.
Sure.
And so, like, if you plan for anything, you got to plan for it a year in advance and then figure out when you can take moms and when you can't take moms.
Okay, got a bunch more questions, of course. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194. Give us a ring-a-ling-a-ling. Sheila will be happy to have a chat with you and get your nose pointed in the right direction. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for staying with us. This is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com, 651-775-9194, 651-775-9194, the 4 pillars of a healthy home. Check out the website. Lots of classes and opportunities for you to get involved and fix up your life, fix up your health. We're talking with a country western star, Mariah McDowell. I keep on joking about that because Sheila's got it buried in my head.
That it sounds like a country name.
And we're talking about midwifery. Midwifery
is how I pronounce it. But it can be
I think it is
both.
midwifery.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What about, have you ever thought about, do you need an assistant? Do you have an assistant? Did your husband turn out to be your assistant? How's that work?
He's always joked about it.
Yeah.
He's like, well, if you're not available, I'll just show up. It's like that. You can't do that. But yeah, I never go into a birth alone. I like the idea of having an assistant at least.
So who's that then?
The birth assistant I have right now is Anna Krinke. But I also have a couple other midwives that are local as well that will attend with me if it's like more complicated, like a breech or twins or something. And so usually at least an assistant midwife. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the husband? Is there an involvement in that? I mean,
when you're there,
do they participate? Not so even like in the whole the 8 months leading up to it. Do you find that the husbands are participating in it, or are they just kind of saying, that's her deal? I'll let her.
It's really dependent on the husband. I mean, there's some that are super involved and are at every prenatal because that's what they would like to be. And there's other that are like, yeah, we'll see you at the birth.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Or maybe an hour
right,
after.
Yeah. Or, and they're a little bit squeamish of blood. Like we've seen dads get queasy and be like, all right, why don't you step out while we clean up quick? But I mean, again, we're really good about making sure the blood's like away so that type of thing doesn't happen. Yeah.
So they're giving birth at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what kind of prep is there for that room? Like sanitizing, and stuff like that.
I mean, there isn't. I mean, I guess they can sanitize as much as they want. We keep all of our gear, like all the stuff that comes in contact with, like the cord and whatever. We clean all that and sanitize that at home. But otherwise, it's up to them on how clean they want their environment. We ask
because it is their environment.
Right.
It is their environment.
We ask for running water and electricity.
Wow, that's a novel idea. So you mentioned earlier that house, that birth house or something.
Yeah, it's
what
birth
is
center.
What and where is that?
There's several birth centers locally in Minnesota, especially, but that's basically like a clinic house. They keep everything very clinical wise.
Right.
And then you can show up, and there's typically 2 or 3 birth suites, is what they call it, and it's just a bed with a big birth tub, and then a big bathroom, and then you can show up, and the midwives will be there, and they'll catch your baby.
All right, so this is like it's gone full circle from 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Right,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
You're at home on Little
So
House
I'm
on the
listening to
Prairie,
you,
and
when you're talking about the training and to get certification and all that stuff, it's like, well, you guys been doing this for 2,000 years, for
For
4,000 years,
Yeah.
and now all of a sudden you got some Yahoo who says, okay, I have to watch you and make sure you're doing it right. It's like, we've been doing this for 4,000 years. So
Right.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about that. Or you're also an herbalist. Okay, so how does that work into your practice, and how does that differ from other midwives?
Currently, I don't know of another midwife in the area that is also an herbalist. But my herbalist business actually started prior to being a midwife. I think I started it in 2017. And that kind of established in itself, and then kind of adopted the midwifery, really. And so that I come alongside women in the sense of, like, I make my own prenatals, my own herbals, like hormonal blends, different herbs that can help with bleeding, different things like preeclampsia and high blood pressure. Like, there's many different herbs and trinkets that I do in order to come alongside the pregnant woman safely as best as I can during our prenatal care, postpartum care, and even like fertility.
where did you grow up?
Well, my parents split, so Farmington and St. Paul.
Okay, so locally in the cities.
Yeah.
And your husband's from where?
California,
Oh.
San Diego.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just, I didn't, just Little House on the Prairie, like did you come from North Dakota?
Yeah, right.
Right? Grandma's, that whole thing.
Running water and
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
I
exactly.
wish. I did love Little House on the Prairie growing up, but we were suburbs.
Well, you
Suburbs
would
and
have loved
city.
it then, because my grandparents did not have indoor plumbing, and we had the outhouse until I was 14.
Did
when
you?
We would go to Iowa to visit. So.
I keep trying to talk my husband into it, and he's like, no, I really like bathrooms. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I just want to probe into the herbs a little bit more because I bought basil seeds this morning. So,
Oh, that's it. That's it.
so when I think herbs, I'm thinking of cooking.
yeah.
So when you're consulting with somebody or you're working with someone, then is it just intuition for you, or what makes you think, well, you need this mix as opposed to this mix over here?
Intuition, I think, plays a big part of it, but it's also, I'm kind of trusting that person also has an idea of how their body works.
Okay.
And so we'll talk of, like, sleeping, for example.
Okay.
Like, they would know drinking a chamomile tea would ring them up. And so, like, we'd probably...
What's that mean?
Like,
Get them wired up.
Yeah.
When it's
Like-
supposed to calm them.
Calm?
It's like
Oh.
like
Yeah.
lavender calms 80% of the people, and 20% of the people it doesn't calm them down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So there's
Like
that-
caffeine makes
Yes.
most people jittery, and I can drink it and go
Exactly.
to
Right.
sleep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so I'm trusting that they know at least little tips like that in order to address that person as a whole. And then we have to play around with things. And so it's like some...
And you prod them with questions and try
Oh, for sure.
to
Yeah.
get some feedback back.
Yeah. I also have a year of functional medicine course or certification behind me as well. And so it's one of those things where, like, you take the whole body in order to work with certain things. Like, they're getting headaches and they're swelling. Well, why? It doesn't have to develop into preeclampsia. We can try to work with it before it gets there based off of figuring out, oh, maybe your liver's not doing what it ought to be doing, and so let's flush that out in order to prevent this from becoming a problem.
Well, and just knowing what I know and what I share on all the time, and the organs, and how toxic our society is and all of that, there's just more of that happens now than it ever used to, because
Yeah.
the bodies have just bioaccumulated so many toxins that the organs are having a tough time doing their job, and then you add scenarios onto that body of
Right.
whatever.
Well, the
scenario.
stress of pregnancy weakens the immune system to begin with, and so like you have to.
I always thought it strengthened the immune system.
No,
I thought women got tougher when they got pregnant.
It actually
They
lowers
get meaner.
it. Yeah, they do. But yeah, it actually lowers it so that way the body doesn't attack the baby.
Oh, the body doesn't
Yeah.
attack because the baby's a foreign element.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay,
Wow.
so now
Okay, so how many births have you done?
I've done a little over 100 at this point, yeah, because I got into it.
Well, you got to count yours. Is
Yeah,
that
well-
103?
okay, 107
Oh,
or
she did.
103.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I last count, I think, over after 80. I'm pretty sure I'm close to 100 at this point. Yeah.
And how do people find you? Or I mean, like who's the referral person?
I
guess you were referred.
People, yeah, I don't know. People call me and they're like, "Hey, you want to be my midwife?" I'm like, "Yeah, great." And so I guess I know enough people that they refer me out, and then I get interviews. It's actually incredible because I mean, I actually just launched my own midwifery business for my sole self just this last January, and I'm already 12 clients in for the rest of the year. It's insane.
And as we speak right now on this show, you are on call for 2 right now.
Yeah,
right?
I'm on call for 2
So
right
she's
now.
waiting for the phone
Yeah.
to ding, right? And it's okay if it does. Yes, you looked at me like you had something.
No, well, I was just how many years have you been doing this?
I have been practicing under other midwives for 3 years prior, and this is my first year on my own.
Okay, so
yeah.
4 years.
Yep.
So what have you learned in 4 years? What have you, from the first time you did it until now, where are the surprises that you go, oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, that's a surprise. You know how you'll just
Yeah.
learn by doing
Yeah,
is
right,
like
right,
get
the
experience.
yeah.
Yeah, but the biggest one was being able to get a shoulder out if it's stuck behind the pubic bone.
Okay.
That was the one where, like, I've now encountered it 3 times. And that was, well, actually 5, but 2 of them I didn't help with. The other 3, it was like me as primary.
Mm-hmm.
Or 2 was me as primary, and 1 was another midwife primary, but I helped out because baby was quite stuck. And that was kind of the being able, this might get a little weird for you, but being able to like go in there and feel and like be able to move the baby inside of the mom to be able to get baby unstuck was, it was just amazing. It was incredible, but it was like something I was like, oh, like you innately know how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's the Holy Spirit behind me, but it was like, it was so easy to be able to get the baby out, knowing what we knew, but never putting it into practice, and then putting it in practice. You're like, that's incredible.
Baby comes out, big shoulders. You go, he's going to be a swimmer.
Yeah.
He's a swimmer. All right, this is Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. 651-775-9194. Give Sheila a ring-a-ling-a-ling. We'll be right back with the final segment of the show. Hey, welcome back. Thanks for sticking around. Our Healthy Homes, ourhealthyhomes.com. Fourth segment of the program, 651-775-9194. Speaking with Mariah McDowell, and we're talking about midwifery. And I got 3 questions here. One of them is psychological barriers. What's that?
Psychological barriers is what
Barriers.
barriers,
Okay,
yeah.
Barriers.
So like there's situations where like if you hold on to something like what we were talking about earlier in an emotional state, that can cause like your labor to be kind of hung up.
Okay.
Like it can stall things out and make things be longer in your labor because emotionally you're holding on to some kind of fear or some kind of thing that, I mean, really, I've seen moms just go in a room and like cry with their husbands, work through it, and then the baby's out in 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And so there could be something that's causing you mentally or even physically not to be able to progress during labor, or that could cause baby to be hung up because emotionally you're not either working through it or there's some kind of fear behind that.
Do you ever have women laying there, I hate you, and
Not
screaming?
to me, no. No.
They'll say that to the husband.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I what about the mothers and mother-in-laws, right? Like they're, you know, so many people have grown up with our Western medicine, right? And this is just what we do, and you're crazy. And are you sure? Like, do you ever get calls and just run through the grill from you know, the bridezilla mother, you know?
I've only seen that once. Typically, parents are pretty respectful when the actual labor is happening, but I have seen it once where she knew her daughter was in labor, so she went to the house and opened the door and like yelled at her that it was unsafe and she shouldn't be doing this, and then shut the door and left. And like that again would cause a barrier for the mom to be like, well, oh crap, my mom's coming behind me. But most often they're very respectable and typically doesn't have an issue. And really, if you just explain the process and knowing that it's a low risk kind of situation, like we don't take anyone high risk. That
How do you know if they're high risk?
Just by different like situations where like they had a cesarean with like one layer closure, that wouldn't be a VBAC that we could take. It needs to be double layers. What would be another one? Like if they developed preeclampsia and it became like a serious issue, they would be considered high risk at that point. But again, like Western medicine and our view of low and high risk would differ too. And so like I said before, geriatric would be considered a high risk pregnancy, or like something in the ultrasound may dictate that something's wrong with baby's heart. Or
So have you've been involved and you're get a few months into it and you're like, we can't finish this way, you need to.
Personal, I've seen it done, but in my own clients, no, I haven't yet.
When that does happen, does the midwife kind of stay with the person? It's just that now they're with a medical doctor,
like an OB.
or
yeah, and that again, that varies on like when it were to occur. Like let's say we had a 20-week ultrasound and we realized that this baby had a pretty serious heart defect and we had to transfer care. At that point, their whole care would be transferred over to an OB, and the duration of their pregnancy would be with them.
So where do the mom still is doing the stuff at the with their doctor, the ultrasounds and things like that at the hospital or at the
we refer
office?
like we still do ultrasounds ourselves. Like we can call radius radiology and get an ultrasound tech done. Yeah,
Okay.
It's kind of like when I went to the MRI in Brooklyn Center, right? It was I went
Yep.
and got my own
Right.
MRI on
and
my
they just
knee,
send the report
and they
back
just
to
send
us.
the report.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
Yeah,
Do you do water bursts?
yeah.
How
Yep.
many of those have you done?
I would say it's like 80%.
Oh, really?
No way. I
Yeah.
suppose though, if you think about it, you've got like the Western way, right? And then
Yeah.
if I am going to go this natural route,
I'm all in.
I'm all in. Exactly.
I mean,
right?
at
It's
least they give it a shot. They may not end up delivering fully in the tub, but they'll have the tub there. I would say 80% of them, yeah.
and just water in the tub.
Yep.
Nothing else.
Nope. No.
Okay, so after you're done, 100 people now that you've helped.
God, I mean, I'd be so addicted to the
Tell
babies.
me how do they report back? I mean, what is the feedback? Do you hear people saying, "Okay, I did it naturally once. Next time I'm going to the hospital and getting my shot."
No, I would argue it's a complete opposite. I think it's very empowering for the women to be able to accomplish that.
Okay.
And I think most often they fall in love with their babies even faster and even more. And the idea of their family being able to come together at home after that baby's delivered and be tucked into their own bed is just amazing.
Do you have people in the living room waiting?
Sometimes,
yeah.
Sometimes that's where the mother-in-law hangs out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Living room.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, or they're hanging out with their other kids, and there's often an audience. Yeah.
Really?
Well, I mean, I remember one of the kids. We have 5 kids and 16 grandkids, and so in one of the births, the doctor was like, okay, like the next push, this baby has got to come out, right? So I'm on one side of her, and her husband's on the other side of her, and we both just looked at each other, and we gave the sign like we were gonna pull, we were gonna move these legs open, man.
Yeah.
We were right, and so it was like, to us, it was like 1, 2, 3, and then we both took a leg and just like opened it up so that baby could come out. And, we never really said anything. And then, weeks later, she's like, oh, my hips are soft. And I was like, I am not saying a word, because she clearly does not remember anything.
No, not at that point. Yep.
Anything that happened. So are there people, like speaking of that, they're in the room waiting. Like, do you ever have to say, hey, Dad, or hey, sister, or hey, I need some help here?
Yeah, typically that's where the assistants come in if we need I don't know, rescue meds or something in that regard in my gear that I bring.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a situation where things got I know we've had a mom that was in the room and really wanted to be there, but then as like the actual mom, the mom that was having the baby, was pushing, she kind of got freaked out, and so we had to be like, hey, why don't you like step out of the room so that like she can focus on this and then come back, or like go get her some water, or like you have those tasks of like being able to like manage the birth, because you're managing the mom and the baby, but you're also managing everybody else in the room as primary.
Right.
And so it's a lot going on, but yeah, I mean, I don't think we've ever had a situation that it got ever aggressive, but we do send like dad to go get towels or something if we can't.
Emotions are high.
Siblings? Do the siblings ever are in there watching?
I've attended a few births where the siblings were there, but that's not often. Usually moms go in the middle of the night and so all the kids are sleeping.
Is there a come to work with Mariah one day that I like go to work with your parent one day?
Yeah.
So I just want to see it, feel it, touch
Bring your
it.
dog to work day.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
Bring your
something
kid
like
to
that.
work
Just let me be there.
mean, the preceptor that I worked under before, she did have people that would come in just for a birth or two to see what it was like. And then it's all dependent on the mom, though.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah, you bet. Like ride around with the cop for a
Right,
day.
right.
So you're on call, you said, 2 weeks following the birth.
Yep.
3.
2 weeks post their due date. So, like, if they're due on the 30th, we'd go all the way up to, like, the 14th of the next month until they hit, like, 42, 43 weeks.
And then what happens?
If they haven't had their baby yet.
Then they're going to have cesarean.
Then they have to go in and get induced. Yeah. And that would be a transfer of care. But, like, in that regard, I would follow the mom to the hospital until baby's born.
Okay, so then what about normal delivery? Came out, everything's fine. What kind of aftercare then are you involved in aftercare?
Yeah, we do a 24-hour home visit. So like 24 hours after the baby's born, we come and check on them again. And then 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. And then after the 6 weeks postpartum, then that's the end of care.
Okay, so now forget about care. You've been with this lady for 9 months, 10 months, whatever it is. Obviously, there's a bond there. There's a relationship there. There's a trust factor there.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What happens after that? You become
so
friends
many
with
friends. It is because you develop that relationship,
Yes.
and it's such an intimate time
Mm-hmm.
that it's like that's why most midwives have repeat clients, because you just want to go back to that person. But I think there's lifelong friends now that I have from even being a student, that they stopped having babies and then we're just friends now and we hang out.
And they didn't want another kid. They just got pregnant again so they could have you hanging around.
Yeah.
Well, in our real estate relationships, we've got, one person sold the house, then the siblings, and then they get married, and I'm at the showers, and it's just all the things, and it's just a wonderful thing to be able to be a part of all of those people's
I think
lives.
anytime you come alongside people in a highly emotional, stressful situation and help them through it, that kind of bond there is developed almost by default. It's just a thing that happens. Whether it can last beyond that is something else again.
We want to make sure that you're able to give out your information. So give us a phone number, email, whichever you want to give out.
How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, nurturingshilomidwifery.com is my website. And then my phone number is 952-215-4041. And my business name is Nurturing Shiloh Midwifery and Herbalism.
Would you recommend that if someone's thinking of getting pregnant, that they would talk to you prior to?
They could, yeah. I work with other women to be able to conceive. Like there's fertility things that on my herbalist side of things that I've helped.
Okay.
Yep.
And I'm curious, like what's the range of cost?
I do a sliding scale, so it depends on like what you can afford. Typically the lower end is $5,000 and the higher end is $7,000. I would like to see if you want a home birth that you're able to do that. And financial isn't an issue for me. And so I want to be able to see as many women as they can have a home birth.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Our Healthy Homes, ladies and gentlemen. This is Our Healthy Homes. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Interesting. More interesting than I thought it was going to be.
You always say that.
651-775-9194. 651-775-9194. And we'll be back next week.
But when he calls me sugar, I love that man with all my might. Sugar in the morning, sugar in the afternoon. Sugar after dinner, sugar in every room. He says I'm sweet as I can be. When he calls me that name, it does things to me. I tell